Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
A couple guys sent me the story from Everett regarding the battle brewing over the Bikini Baristas. But it's come to an end, and it did not end the way the city would have liked. Everett will pay $500,000 to end the legal battle that they've been having with the Bikini Baristas. And you may know this, but there's a thing that's been going on for a few years now where someone will open up a coffee stand, a drive-through coffee stand, and they'll have women staff the place, and the women will wear bikinis. And that's part of the attraction, kind of like the women at Hooters wearing what they wear. And so I know where one of these places is in Oakland County, and it's called the Hot Spot. And, if you want to, you can drive through there and get your coffee and speak briefly to a woman wearing a bikini. And so there you go. Well, the settlement agreement aligns the dress code rules with the city's existing lewd conduct standard, ending a battle that's been going on for 6 years. Jerry Cornfield writes a story for HeraldNet.com. It's been a drawn-out legal battle on the city's dress code for bikini baristas. And it's ending after the Everett City Council agreed to pay $500,000 to the stand owner and employees who filed the suit 6 years ago. So the council voted unanimously to authorize the mayor to sign the settlement agreement with the company and its employees. Plaintiffs have been seeking roughly $3.3 million in damages and their attorney fees. Under the agreement, the city will retain most of its existing rules for probationary licensing of coffee stands and other quick-serve business. Now, here's the deal. It makes sense that there's some oversight for places that serve food and so on, safety standards for food. But do we really need to regulate what the people are wearing who serve it to you? And the question then becomes, if you're going to regulate that, should you be regulating for anything beyond safety? Safety, that is safety of the people serving the food and the safety of the people who are buying the food. And so the question then becomes, what business is it of yours if a woman is wearing a blouse or a bikini top? Does it really make a difference in the grand scheme of things? And so the city will no longer dictate that baristas wear at least tank tops and shorts. So apparently they said, we don't mind you having skimpy clothing on, but the bare minimum has got to be a tank top and shorts. And where they got that standard from, I'm not sure. The city, however, has agreed to align the dress code rules with the existing lewd conduct standard that makes it a crime to publicly expose too much of one's private areas. Now, that's one of the questions that they should have asked at the very beginning. Because if a person can walk down the street wearing an outfit, why can't they work wearing the exact same outfit? And so they're somehow saying, well, no, we have higher standards for our baristas in this city. The city can revoke a stand owner's business license upon 2 or more infractions for violations of that standard. So if you pull in to buy your coffee, you might see a woman in a bikini, but if she shows you too much of her private parts, then it would be a violation of the law. Another provision mandates business owners post materials for employees with information on how to seek help if they're being trafficked or otherwise exploited. So that's always one of the arguments they raise is, what if these women are in there and they're doing this bikini barista thing against their will? I'm glad we're for the baristas and against the people who are trying to get them to do things they don't want to do, City Council member Liz Vogel said after the vote. In a statement released Thursday, the mayor said this has always been about protecting the best interest of our community and preventing exploitation. The amendments to the ordinance we're agreeing to enact will provide us with a new tool for addressing issues at individual stands, while also providing support to employees that are being coerced or exploited in any way. And I'm very curious to know, were there ever any allegations that panned out that somebody was being exploited or coerced at this bikini barista stand? And I'm curious, was anybody ever found to have been exploited or coerced? Because that's always, think of the children. It's just a knee-jerk response people have. And I'm wondering, did they just use the knee-jerk response? Or was there legitimately a complaint that, yes, they were holding this one woman against her will, forcing her to wear the bikini and making her serve coffee? I'm curious if that was the case. The settlement agreement may be the final chapter of saga dating back to 2009, when the city received dozens and dozens of complaints about baristas whose outfits at times consisted of little more than body paint, stickers, and G-strings. And so I'm curious about that also, whether that was actually the case. There were also allegations of sex shows, sex acts, and customers allowed to physically touch the women, and that led to allegations and investigations of owners. After arrests and prosecution of 4 people, the problems appear to have gone away. And that's according to the deputy city attorney who was speaking about this to the council. But they say it didn't, and in 2013, an investigation led to the arrest of 2 espresso stand owners on accusations of promoting prostitution and exploitation of a minor, as well as a veteran county sheriff's sergeant for tipping off the baristas about undercover officers in exchange for favors. So obviously those things by themselves would be against the law. The question is the dress code how you address the behavior of the people who are breaking the law? At that point, the city looked for new ways to hold stand owners accountable and to prevent the exploitation of their employees. The centerpiece of what emerged in 2017 was a dress code ordinance requiring all employees, owners, and operators of quick service facilities to wear clothing that covers the upper and lower body. The ordinance listed coffee stands, fast food restaurants, delis, food trucks, and coffee shops as examples of quick service businesses. Violations could result in a $250 fine on a first offense. Almost immediately, the owner of the Bikini Barista stand called Hillbilly Hotties and some employees filed a legal complaint challenging the constitutionality of the ordinance. They argued it violated their First Amendment rights, asserting in written declarations that their right to a lack of clothing was akin to their right to free speech through its role as a message of body positivity, empowerment, and freedom. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that some courts have ruled that how you dress can be a form of speech. For instance, you might be wearing a shirt that's got some kind of message on it. But also, whether or not it's got an overt verbal message on it, your clothing does send a message. Some countries make you wear lots of clothing because of their religious beliefs, one person wrote, but America is different because you can wear what you want to wear. I wear what I'm comfortable with, and others can wear what they're comfortable with. Wearing a bikini sends this message to others. A federal judge in 2017 issued a preliminary injunction banning Everett from enforcing that dress code. In 2019, the Federal Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit sided with the city in implementing the dress code, and in 2020, the coffee stand workers filed to have their case heard by the U.S. Supreme Court. Supreme Court justices declined to hear the case, so it made its way back down to a lower court to address legal questions raised from the Ninth Circuit's ruling. And in October, a U.S. District Court judge found that the dress code ordinance was, in fact, unconstitutional. So they told the city council members the city would appeal, but costs were uncertain, and the defeat would lead to a much higher tab than the $500,000 that they settled the case for. The city had already spent almost $400,000 simply defending the ordinance. The settlement still gives us our best tool to require stand owners to make sure their employees are not engaging in illegal conduct. It still leaves the city with a strong tool to make sure we don't have a repeat of what we uncovered in 2013. And so again, you'll notice that he uses, and that's the attorney speaking, he uses the word conduct. So if there was illegal conduct happening, you crack down on the conduct. They were not alleging that the conduct was what they were wearing. So it's a great example, in my mind, of where somebody in a position of power says, look at this bad conduct. We're going to fix that by doing this. And you go, wait, what's this got to do with this? So if there was illegal conduct happening at that stand, you crack down on the illegal conduct. And by changing what they're wearing, it's not necessarily going to eliminate that conduct. So I think this is a great result. It's unfortunate it took them this long to get here, but they're going to pay the stand and those people who filed the lawsuit a grand total of $500,000 to settle the case. And just remember procedurally that a lower court heard the case, the Ninth Circuit heard the appeal and ruled. They took it to the Supreme Court, who declined to hear it. It went back down to the trial court, who, following the guidelines given to them by the Ninth Circuit on appeal, said, oh, it turns out this is unconstitutional. So that trip to those various courts is an extremely convoluted one and an expensive one. And as you can see, it took some time. So here we are at the end of a 6-year battle. And if you'd asked most attorneys back at the very beginning, if you have a law that says a woman cannot wear a bikini while she's at this job, but she can, if stepping outside the building and standing in public, can wear the exact same bikini, that's not going to withstand scrutiny. It's not. And it didn't. So there you go. So if you're in Everett, although this law has not been enforced for quite some time because of the injunction, apparently. If you're in Everett, feel free to go out and get yourself your Bikini Barista served coffee next time you pass by Hillbilly Hotties. So there you go. Dirk and Philip, thanks for sending that from heraldnet.com. Jerry Cornfield wrote it. Everett to pay $500,000 to end the legal battle over the Bikini Baristas and their outfits. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. You can't just give up. Is that what a dinosaur would do?